The stars outside the window of the ship burned like tiny fires. Captain Daniel Reeves stood still and watched them. He had seen stars from orbit many times before, but today felt different. Today was the first meeting between Earth and the Valtheri Empire. He had spent months preparing, studying their strange language, their rituals, and their history. Still, he knew that no book could prepare him for standing face to face with an alien queen. The diplomatic ship Unity glided slowly into the neutral system called Zytheron. Its engines whispered, its shields held strong, and its crew moved with quiet discipline. Daniel wore a dark blue uniform with a silver crest over his heart. He had always been calm in high-pressure talks, but as the ship moved closer to the massive alien station ahead, he felt his hands tremble slightly. Beside him stood Ambassador Kira Naidu, Earth's top linguist. She adjusted her earpiece and whispered, "Remember, Captain, do not speak first. Wait for the Queen's signal." Daniel nodded. "I know. One mistake could mean war." Kira smiled faintly. "Just don't make one." The alien station filled the window like a living planet. It was not made of metal in the human sense. Its towers were dark green and black, shaped like huge insect wings folded together. Rivers of blue light ran along its surface, pulsing like veins. Small ships moved in swarms around it, guiding the Unity to a landing dock. Daniel noticed how smooth and silent their motion was, like birds moving together without words. When the ship docked, a soft hiss filled the air. The crew opened the airlock. The scent of the station came first, a dry, earthy smell like stone and cinnamon. Then the Valtheri guards appeared. They were tall, insect-like beings with shiny black carapaces and long limbs ending in 3 sharp claws. They held no visible weapons but radiated discipline. Daniel walked at the front of the Earth delegation. His boots echoed softly on the strange floor. It was smooth like glass but alive with faint shifting patterns under his feet. He kept his back straight, remembering every lesson of body language taught to him. Slow movements, open hands, steady breathing. The guards led them through high halls shaped like giant hives. The walls glowed with soft green light. Every few meters, Daniel saw small alien carvings, circles and spirals that looked like stars being born. It was silent except for the sound of wings in the distance, like 100 paper fans fluttering. Finally, the delegation entered the throne hall. It was a huge chamber shaped like a dome. Hanging vines of glowing blue silk drifted from the ceiling. A shallow pool of clear water circled the center, reflecting the ceiling like a mirror. Across the pool was a raised platform. On it stood the Valtheri Queen. Daniel stopped breathing for a second. She was larger than the guards. Her carapace a deep silver green that caught the light and scattered it like liquid metal. 6 delicate wings folded against her back. Her eyes, dozens of them, were like small golden moons, all fixed on him. Around her stood the Royal Council, smaller but still towering over the humans. A soft sound filled the air, like a choir of low bells. It was the Valtheri greeting. Daniel bowed his head slowly as Earth protocol required. He waited. The silence stretched long enough for him to hear his own heartbeat. Then the Queen spoke. Her voice was a layered sound, both deep and high at the same time, echoing in his translator as clear English. "Human envoy, you have crossed the dark between suns to stand here. Do you bring peace?" Daniel lifted his head. "Yes, great Queen. We bring peace, knowledge, and a wish for friendship." His words were steady, but he felt sweat on his palms. The Queen tilted her head. The many eyes blinked in a slow ripple. "We have known your signals. We have watched your ships grow from your small world. You are fast and restless, yet you come without weapons." "That is true," Daniel said. "We come only to speak." She moved forward slightly. Her claws clicked softly on the platform. She raised one thin limb and the council fell silent. "You are different from others we have met. Your kind reaches outward without fear. Tell me, Daniel Reeves of Earth, are you alone?" The question made Daniel pause. He looked at Ambassador Naidu, who looked equally confused. I came with a delegation," he said carefully. But the Queen's eyes narrowed and a strange vibration filled the air. "Not that. Are you single, human?" The words echoed in the hall. Daniel felt the entire human team stiffen. Ambassador Naidu's hand froze on her translator. One of the guards shifted uneasily. Daniel's mind raced. Was this a test, a trap, or some alien ritual? He remembered the briefing. Valtheri culture had no direct concept of marriage like humans, but they valued bonds and alliances. Asking someone about their single status could be a way to measure political freedom. He swallowed hard. I'm not currently bound, he said carefully. The Queen's eyes glimmered. Her wings fluttered once. Good. For a moment the hall was silent except for the soft sound of water in the pool. Daniel could feel hundreds of eyes on him, human and Valtheri alike. The Queen's statement had not sounded like an ordinary question. It had sounded like a challenge or maybe even an offer. Ambassador Naidu whispered under her breath, Captain, careful, this could mean something serious. I know, Daniel murmured. The Queen straightened, her tall frame rising like a tower. We have waited for one who carries the spark of change, she said. Your kind is strange. Your kind lives many lives in one. Your kind breaks boundaries. We will see if you are as strong as your signals. She gestured with a clawed hand. Tomorrow you will meet me in private. Then she turned and walked back to her throne, wings folding tight. The guards' claws clicked again as they guided the humans out. The delegation moved in silence, too stunned to speak. Daniel walked at the front, his heart hammering. He had not expected this. He had trained for trade talks, not for personal questions from an alien queen. Back aboard the Unity, the conference room buzzed with voices. She asked if you're single, one officer exclaimed. Do you know what that means? Another whispered. Ambassador Naidu raised her hands for silence. We need to research. This could be a ritual of alliance. Or, she hesitated, or she could literally want him. Daniel sat quietly. His mind spun with possibilities. He had felt something in the Queen's gaze. Not attraction exactly, but recognition. As if she saw something in him, or in all humans, that her people lacked. He wondered if he had just stepped into something far larger than himself. He looked out the window at the alien station. The green towers glowed softly against the stars. He thought about the question again. Are you single human? It was both strange and dangerous, and it was only the beginning. The next day began with a soft blue glow inside the human ship Unity. Captain Daniel Reeves sat at the small table in his quarters, staring at a cup of cold tea. He had not slept much. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the Queen's golden eyes and heard her question again. Are you single human? It echoed in his head like a bell. Outside his window, the alien station floated against a sea of stars. Its tall towers of green and black shimmered with light. Tiny craft moved in perfect patterns as if the whole station was alive. Daniel felt both wonder and a quiet tension in his chest. He had faced many negotiations in his career, but nothing had felt this personal. Ambassador Kira Naidu entered his quarters without knocking. You're still awake? She asked softly. Barely, Daniel said. She handed him a tablet. I've been up all night with the cultural team. We think we know what her question meant. Daniel rubbed his eyes. Tell me. Kira sat down across from him. In Valtheri culture, asking if someone is single is a way of asking if they are free to form a primary pact. A primary pact? It's the strongest kind of alliance they have. Not exactly marriage, more like binding one's future to another person or another people. It's how they form royal alliances. Daniel stared at the tablet. So she's not just curious. No, Kira said. She's offering a possible bond. Maybe with you, maybe with humanity. Daniel exhaled slowly. That explains why the council looked so shocked. He stood and began to pace. If I say yes, I'm making a promise I don't understand. If I say no, I might insult the entire empire. Kira nodded. Exactly. We've sent a message back to Earth Command, but it will take hours to get a reply. Daniel looked at the time. And she wants to meet me today. Later, Daniel stood before the airlock again, dressed in his clean blue uniform. His heart beat faster than usual. Around him, the rest of the human delegation whispered in low voices. Everyone knew this meeting was far beyond normal diplomacy. It could change the future of two species. 2 Valtheri guards waited to escort him. Their black carapaces glistened in the light. They bowed their heads slightly, a sign of respect, and gestured for him to follow. Daniel walked between them, trying to keep his breath steady. The air of the station smelled dry and sweet, like stone dust and warm honey. They led him through a series of corridors he had not seen before. The walls were darker here, lined with carved spirals and deep grooves. Strange glowing insects moved inside the grooves like living circuits. The sound of wings echoed faintly, but the halls were otherwise silent. Finally, they reached a small circular room. At its center was a round pool of clear water, and beyond it a raised platform of green stone. The queen waited there alone. She was smaller in this chamber, or perhaps the room. The day began with a quiet tension aboard the Unity. Captain Daniel Reeves moved across the deck, reviewing data from the station. Sensors showed subtle movements around the Valtheri Palace. The factions the queen had warned about were already stirring, preparing to test her leadership. Daniel paused at the observation window, staring at the alien station. Its towers shimmered softly in the sunlight of the distant star. To any outsider, it looked serene, almost peaceful, but Daniel knew better. Beneath the calm surface, danger and political scheming were already at work. Ambassador Kira Naidu approached him. "Captain, the intelligence team has been analyzing their court structure. Some of the council members see humans as tools, not partners. They might try to sabotage the Queen's leadership today." Daniel frowned. "Sabotage how? By discrediting her? By making her look weak? Or by forcing her to accept a primary pact with someone else? Perhaps someone she doesn't choose." Daniel's brow furrowed. "So we're caught in the middle of a royal power struggle." "Yes," Kira said, "and your species' reputation is on the line." Daniel exhaled slowly. Humans were known for their courage and adaptability, but he had never had to show it in a room full of insect-like beings with golden eyes. He straightened. "Then we do what humans do best. We adapt, we observe, and we act carefully when the time is right." Later that morning, Daniel and the diplomatic team were led into a large council chamber inside the Valtheri station. It was massive, circular, and lined with translucent green pillars. Light flowed through them, creating moving patterns on the polished floor. The royal council sat in high seats, wings folded, their many eyes watching every step Daniel took. At the center of the room, the queen awaited him. She was seated with perfect composure, her wings resting gently against her back. Her golden eyes moved slowly across the humans as if measuring their potential. Daniel approached. "Great Queen," he said, "we are here to discuss a way forward for our peoples." She nodded once. "Yes, human. We shall see if your words carry truth." She raised a clawed hand. The council fell silent. "We value strength, but strength is not only force. It is wisdom. It is courage. It is adaptability. You humans are strange creatures. Your kind can survive almost anywhere, and yet you choose to understand others instead of conquering them. This is remarkable." Daniel listened carefully. He felt a small thrill. This was the first time an alien ruler had openly praised humans, not just tolerated them. "Your kind has qualities we have lost," the queen continued. "You change, you grow. You are creative and cooperative. You do not bind yourselves to tradition to your own detriment. You embrace risk, yet you also embrace kindness. You are unpredictable, and that makes you strong." Daniel hesitated, thinking about his crew, about Earth's history of exploration and diplomacy. "We have learned that survival is not only about power," he said. "It is about working together, even with those who are different. We have made mistakes, but we try to learn from them." The queen's eyes reflected something like approval. "Perhaps this is why I asked about your freedom yesterday. Not for myself, but to see if you would act freely, not bound by fear or obligation. A true bond requires freedom, human. You understand that instinctively." Before Daniel could reply, one of the council members spoke. Their voice was harsh, vibrating through the hall. "Mother, the human is clever, but cleverness is not enough. We cannot trust him. He is different. He may bring change, but change can destroy us." The queen turned her gaze on the counselor. "Change is survival. Without change, we will die. Your fear blinds you." The counselor hissed, their wings vibrating. "And what if this human cannot keep his word? What if your trust is misplaced?" Daniel stepped forward. "Great Queen, I have given my word. I offer knowledge, not chains. I offer partnership, not submission. That is the human way." The queen's eyes softened slightly. "Good, this is why you are unique. Most beings value loyalty only when it comes with fear. You value it freely. That is human, and that is what my people need." One of the younger counselors, a female Valtheri with bright silver eyes, spoke. "Then what do we do? If humans are so different, how do we measure their strength? How do we trust them?" Daniel thought quickly. "You observe us. You challenge us. You test us. And we respond. Humans have thrived because we adapt, because we take risks, and because we value life and fairness. You do not need to understand every detail. You need only watch how we act when the stakes are highest. The Queen's wings twitched in approval. Yes, that is why I spoke to you privately. I needed to see how you would act when faced with fear, with uncertainty, and with scrutiny. You have passed the first test. Daniel exhaled with relief, but he knew this was only the beginning. Suddenly, an alert sounded from the floor. One of the Valtheri guards moved quickly toward a communication panel. "Mother," he said, "there is movement in the northern wings. A faction is gathering. They are preparing for confrontation." The Queen's eyes narrowed. "So the time comes sooner than I expected. Humans, you must leave this chamber. The next moments may be dangerous." Daniel nodded, though he felt a surge of determination. "We will be ready." "Tell me what to do." The Queen stepped closer. "Observe first. Learn our ways, and do not underestimate the courage that lies within small, unexpected actions. Humans will need to show us their best, not in words, but in deeds." Daniel glanced at the council, at the glowing pillars, at the endless corridors beyond. He realized that humans had always been judged by others, and yet they had survived and thrived by being resourceful, brave, and compassionate. Perhaps this was the test she had been preparing, to see if humans could prove that strength came in more than physical power, more than technology, more than force. He turned back to the Queen. "We will do our best, and we will not fail you." She studied him silently, her golden eyes reflecting the chamber lights. "Good, observe carefully. Adapt carefully, and act wisely. That is the way of your people, and that is why they will endure." The chamber doors opened, and the guards gestured for Daniel to leave. As he walked back through the glowing corridors, he realized that this mission was changing. It was no longer just diplomacy. It was a chance to show the Valtheri Empire what humans could offer: courage, empathy, creativity, and the ability to survive and thrive against impossible odds. Back aboard the Unity, Daniel gathered his team. "Listen carefully," he said. "We are about to face a challenge unlike any we have ever seen. The Queen is counting on us to prove that humans are more than technology and weapons. She is counting on us to show our heart." The officers nodded, determination in their eyes. They had trained for years for diplomacy and space missions, but this was different. They were about to show an alien civilization that humans were not just clever or strong. They were adaptable, brave, and capable of extraordinary things. Daniel looked out at the stars again. Somewhere inside that vast alien station, the Queen waited for courage, for proof that humans were worth trusting. He clenched his fists and felt a firelight inside him. He would not fail. Not for the Queen, not for his crew, not for humanity. The first steps of a new partnership were about to begin, and Daniel Reeves intended to make sure humans shone as they had always done, with heart, with courage, and with unwavering determination. The calm that had filled the Valtheri station since Daniel's meeting with the Queen vanished in an instant. Alarms rang across the Unity as sensors detected rapid movement within the northern wings of the palace. Daniel's stomach tightened. The faction the Queen had warned about was making its move. He stood on the command deck, staring at the display showing small clusters of Valtheri warriors converging toward the central halls. "They're moving fast," he said, "and they're heavily armed." Ambassador Kira Naidu moved beside him. "We warned Earth Command, but it will take hours for reinforcements to arrive. We're on our own for now." Daniel clenched his fists. "Then we have to act now." He turned to the crew. "Prepare boarding suits. Weapons on stun mode. We're going in. The Queen needs protection, and we're not going to wait for instructions from thousands of kilometers away." The crew moved swiftly, the tension thick in the air. Daniel led them down the docking corridors, their footsteps echoing on the smooth green floor. Every corridor looked the same, and every shadow seemed to hide danger. He reminded himself to breathe, to stay focused, and to think like humans, quick, adaptable, and fearless. Inside the palace, the Queen sensed the approaching threat. She stood near the raised platform, her wings slightly flaring. Her golden eyes scanned the corridors. The council had split, and some loyal, some siding with the rebels. The traitors moved with precision, intending to strike at her and seize control of the station. She whispered to her loyal guards, "The humans have courage. Watch how they act. They may be our hope." Daniel's team arrived just as the first clash erupted. A group of rebels blocked the corridor. Their carapaces shone dark against the glowing walls. Their claws were ready. Daniel took a deep breath. Remember your training. Keep calm. We are guests, but we are humans. Adaptable, clever, and brave. Move! The humans advanced carefully, using the walls for cover. Stun rifles flashed, emitting soft arcs of light that incapacitated the rebels without harming them permanently. Daniel stayed near the front, his eyes scanning for ambushes. One rebel leapt. The hidden station hummed with quiet energy. Captain Daniel Reeves stood at the observation window, watching the Valtheri Palace far below. Smoke rose in thin lines from the northern wings, a reminder of the coup that had nearly overthrown the Queen. Loyalist forces were working to stabilize the station, but Daniel knew the situation was far from over. Ambassador Kira Naidu joined him, tablet in hand. Earth Command sent new instructions. They want updates, but more importantly, they want to know if a formal alliance is possible. Daniel sighed. We've proven humans can fight and adapt, but now we must prove we can lead through cooperation, not just combat. Kira nodded. The Queen believes in your kind, Captain. The Council, not all of them. They'll need convincing. Daniel turned to her. Then we show them what humans are truly capable, not with weapons, but with strategy, courage, and unity. Down in the palace, the Queen was holding court with her loyalists. Her golden eyes swept across the room, studying faces both alien and human. She spoke softly but firmly. The humans have risked much for us. They have shown courage, but courage alone is not enough. We need proof that their loyalty and wisdom are real. Daniel stepped forward, speaking clearly. Great Queen, loyalists, council members, the humans are not here as conquerors or manipulators. We offer partnership, knowledge shared, guidance exchanged, and a commitment to protect life wherever we can. A counselor, his dark carapace gleaming under the chamber lights, spoke sharply. Words are easy, human. Show us that your loyalty is not just clever speech. We have seen rebels take advantage of trust. How do we know you will act when stakes are highest? Daniel nodded. Then we act. Not because we are forced, but because it is the right thing to do. The moment came sooner than anyone expected. Scouts reported a new fleet of rebel ships approaching the station. They were fast and well armed. If they landed, the Queen could be trapped again. Daniel addressed both humans and loyal Valtheri guards. We move as one unit. Humans and Valtheri side by side. We adapt, we defend, and we ensure the Queen's safety. Follow my lead. The Queen's wings flared slightly. I trust you, human. Lead wisely. The combined forces prepared for the incoming fleet. Humans piloted small attack shuttles, maneuvering with precision. Valtheri warriors guarded the station's entrances. Daniel coordinated their efforts, mixing human improvisation with Valtheri discipline. When the rebel ships entered firing range, Daniel acted first. He gave precise instructions for the humans to create a distraction, while loyalist Valtheri forces blocked the main corridors. The rebels were taken by surprise. No one expected such coordination between humans and Valtheri. The battle that followed was tense but controlled. Humans used innovative tactics, rapid maneuvers, unexpected flanking, and clever use of the station's terrain. Valtheri guards responded with perfect timing, creating an unstoppable force against the attackers. Daniel piloted a shuttle through narrow spaces, coordinating movements with the Queen's telepathic signals. He marveled at how quickly humans could adapt to alien technology. Every decision was careful, but every action was decisive. The rebels tried to regroup, but the combined forces anticipated their moves. One by one, their ships were disabled, captured, or forced to retreat. The Queen watched with growing respect. Her golden eyes reflected not just relief but admiration. After the battle, the Queen convened a council session. Daniel and his team were present. She spoke with calm authority. The humans have proven themselves. They have shown courage, intelligence, and adaptability. They risked themselves for us, not for reward, but because it was the right thing to do. This is a rare quality. One counselor spoke slowly. Your actions were impressive. Perhaps the humans are worthy of trust. Another added, they did not follow orders blindly. They thought, adapted, and acted wisely. That is something we have not seen in many cycles. Daniel stepped forward. We are not here to dominate or control. We are here to share knowledge, to work together, and to protect life. That is the human way. and we hope it can become the way of our two peoples united." The Queen's wings trembled slightly in approval. "Then let it be known. The humans are allies, not subjects. Their bond with us is voluntary, based on mutual respect and trust." The announcement sent waves through the palace. Loyalists cheered softly, while some of the counselors nodded reluctantly. The Queen's enemies had been weakened but not eliminated. Still, the humans' courage and wisdom had shifted the balance. Daniel felt a sense of accomplishment. He knew humans had a reputation for bravery, but this was different. The Queen and her loyalists now saw humans not just as allies, but as a symbol of hope, a reminder that adaptability, intelligence, and empathy were strengths beyond weapons or numbers. Kira Naidu approached him quietly. "You've done it, Captain. You've shown them that humans are remarkable." Daniel nodded, but his mind was already on the next step. "This is only the beginning. The Queen's people will watch every move we make. We must remain true to our principles. Courage alone is not enough. We must continue to earn their trust." That evening, Daniel walked with the Queen through one of the station's high corridors. Light shimmered off the walls, reflecting in golden patterns across the floor. The air was calm now, almost peaceful, but Daniel knew the challenges were not over. "You have done well," the Queen said softly. "Not because you are strong, but because you act with your mind and your heart. That is something rare in the galaxy." Daniel smiled faintly. "We humans have always known that the greatest strength is not in weapons, but in working together, in protecting those who cannot protect themselves, and in facing challenges without fear." The Queen studied him. "I see that now. Perhaps this is why I asked about your freedom. It was never a question of yourself alone. It was to measure the heart and mind of your species." Daniel chuckled softly. "I suppose I passed the test?" Her wings fluttered, a small movement of amusement. "You did. But remember, trust is fragile. Actions must always reflect the words. That is how alliances endure." Daniel nodded. "We understand. And we will not fail." Back on the observation deck, Daniel and his team watched the remaining rebels retreat. The station was secure, the Queen was safe, and the Council had begun to accept the humans' role as partners. For the first time, Daniel felt that humanity had truly earned a place in the stars, not through conquest, but through courage, empathy, and wisdom. He looked at the stars beyond the station, bright points of light stretching into infinity. Humanity's journey was just beginning. They had proven themselves in battle, yes, but also in thought, in decision, and in heart. That was what the Valtheri had been missing, and that was what humans could offer to a galaxy in need of hope. Daniel smiled faintly. Somewhere in the distance, the Queen's eyes watched him. She had asked a simple question. "Are you single, human?" But it had always been about more than that. It was about humanity itself, its courage, its adaptability, and its heart. And now the first step toward a lasting alliance had been made. The stars beyond Zitharon twinkled, and Daniel Reeves knew that the future belonged to those who dared to act with courage, wisdom, and humanity. The station was quiet now, a calm that followed the storm of the coup. The northern wings had been secured, rebel forces either captured or retreating. Captain Daniel Reeves stood on the observation deck with Ambassador Kira Naidu, watching the Valtheri Palace below. The city-like towers glowed softly in the light of the distant star. "This feels surreal," Kira said quietly. "One day we're preparing for diplomacy. The next we're in the middle of a coup." Daniel smiled faintly. "We humans thrive in chaos. We adapt, we protect, and we learn from every challenge. That's why we survived, and why we're standing here now." Kira nodded. "The Queen trusts you. The Council respects you. But what comes next?" Daniel turned from the window, determination in his eyes. "Next we build a lasting alliance. Not temporary peace, not shallow friendship, a partnership between our species based on respect, courage, and shared knowledge. That is how humans operate, and that is what the Queen saw in us." In the main hall of the palace, the Valtheri Queen stood tall, her wings gleaming silver and green. The Council gathered before her, a mix of loyalists and cautious skeptics. The Queen's golden eyes swept the room, then landed on Daniel. "Human," she said, her voice carrying through the chamber, "you have proven yourself. You have acted with courage, wisdom, and compassion. You have not only saved me, but you have shown my people the value of your species. It is time to solidify what has begun." Daniel stepped forward. Great Queen, members of the Council, I speak not just for myself, but for all of humanity. We do not come to take, to conquer, or to impose. We come to share knowledge, to learn from your wisdom, and to build a future where our peoples support each other. Together we can achieve far more than alone. The chamber was silent. Then a counselor with dark carapace and golden eyes spoke. Your actions were bold, human. You risked yourselves for our queen. But words alone are easy. How do we know your people will continue this partnership? Daniel smiled. By example. By continued action. Humans have always faced challenges and learned from them. We do not stop at words. We act, we adapt. We endure. That is the human way. The queen's eyes reflected pride and approval. Then it shall be written. An alliance between humans, a